Welcome to the All Seasons apartment in Lasko, Slovenia. My name's Eid, aka the Tall Boy, and I'm gonna be staying here for the next 3 nights with my good friend Aris. We're participating in the I Feel Slovenia Future Series, an international badminton tournament taking place right here in Lasko, Slovenia. I don't know why I'm saying right here because I'm at home right now. I'm in my bedroom. Either way, during my stay, I'm gonna be showing you guys everything there is to see about this beautiful apartment, both the good and the bad. Oh, and for what it's worth, this video is completely unsponsored. Now let's get the lowdown on this apartment. Now my first impressions of this accommodation. It looks like any normal family resident type accommodation. There's nothing that really stands out on the road as opposed to any of the other normal accommodations, if you know what I mean. Until you walk around the side of the house and see this massive sign saying All Seasons. Now the sign's not clearly listed, but that doesn't mean it's particularly hard to find. If anything, unlike some accommodations, it was quite easy to locate this place on Google Maps. In addition, it was only a 15-minute walk from the station. Now, we didn't ride in there with a car, but it is conveniently placed on the main road that leads in and out of town. On top of that, you get free parking with the accommodation, so rocking up with a car isn't too difficult. The area itself is surrounded by forest, so there are quite a few hiking trails around Lasko, Slovenia, and they're all quite easily accessible from this accommodation. It's all quite easily accessible as well, as the accommodation is only a 15-minute walk into town, and it's only a 5-minute walk to your nearest supermarket. The one downside I'd give to this location is that it is quite far from any airport. The nearest international airport would be Maribor Airport in Slovenia, and that's about an hour away by car, or an hour and a half by train. On top of that, I didn't really come from Slovenia, I came from Croatia, so it was quite a long trip for myself. However, Aris took the train from Ljubljana Airport, which is another international airport in Slovenia, and it took him roughly 2 hours to get to Lasko. Now the check-in itself was pretty smooth. Despite contacting the host pretty late, she was very quick to respond and also helped us put in our code for the door. This for me is a big plus because I don't like carrying around keys. I always get so nervous about losing them. And just having a code that I have to remember as well as just putting it on my phone makes it so much easier. Now enough about the outside, let's get inside. Now what do you actually get with an all seasons accommodation? Keeping in mind they have different apartments. This specific space consists of 1 bedroom, 1 full bathroom, and an open plan kitchen that connects to the living room, complete with a sofa bed. So let's start with the bedroom. Now the bedroom was probably the most spacious room in the house. I'd wager it's about the same size as the living room. It consists of a double bed, a small storage space for clothes with clothes hangers and extra blanket, a massive window looking out to the mountains and main road, and there's a dining chair in here for some reason. As you can see, the room's pretty plain and simple, which personally I like. I don't need anything fancy or extra. This to me was enough. That being said, I wasn't sleeping in the bed. Now the bed itself, being a double bed, was very spacious for 1 person. You can see how big it is in relation to the size of his body. Look at that, he's got tons of room to roll around in. Now the bed itself is generally comfy. The sheet quality was just fine. We didn't get any rashes or any discomfort from it. However, the pillows were a bit too soft and I'd wager they were a bit old because they felt flattened and lumpy. Overall, the bed was decent. I just recommend changing the pillows to something a bit firmer, as these pillows were a bit uncomfortable on my neck. By the way, the pillows were the same on the sofa bed. Now there are drawers on either side of the bed, plus a reading lamp and power outlets. Keep in mind this is Europe, so they use 2-pin plugs. So if you're going yourself, you better make sure you bring an adapter if you don't have 2-pin plugs. Oh, and for those of you that are curious, there is nothing in the drawers by the bed. Now, looking at the wardrobe, it's relatively small. I don't really see the point in this wardrobe personally. It's highly likely that if you're coming to this accommodation, you're gonna be living out your suitcase. And it's not like it holding much else of great value. I mean, the blanket, sure, that's it. But we also got a coat hanger at the front, so no need to put your coat in there. That being said, it doesn't really take anything away from the room. I just don't feel like it adds anything. And I guess it fits the aesthetic of the room, so it's okay. Now you'll notice this massive window in the room, and it's got this beautiful view if you look outside. Lasko is surrounded by mountains. You're going to see this every time you walk outside the house, and this stunning view showcases that perfectly. Now you will notice it's right next to the road leading in and out of town. However, surprisingly, it's not that noisy. Even with cars going by, we didn't really have too much issue with sleeping, or at least Aris didn't. I couldn't hear anything from my part of the house, but we didn't have any issues with things being too loud or too noisy. So it's not something you need to worry about. Now that's everything you need to know about the bedroom. Let's slide on over into the bathroom. Now I really like the bathroom. The bathroom was perfect to me in so many different ways. It only had 1 major flaw, which I'll get into later in the video. But for now, let's explore the amenities of the bathroom. Now this is a full bathroom with shower, toilet, and sink in it. And despite being a relatively small bathroom, it's quite spacious. And funny enough, the spacious nature of the bathroom isn't really an illusion either. It does feel like you have space to move around in, do what you like within the bathroom, even though, technically speaking, it's not a big bathroom. Now, in this bathroom, you've got a walk-in shower. Put simply, there's no door or nothing, just a screen. You walk in, you shower, and you don't really have to worry about mess. And it's easy enough to towel off in there, so if you don't like having a really wet bathroom, it's quite easy to prevent this from happening. Both the sink and toilet are standard, of course, and both of which look pretty modern. They don't look like them old school ones that look like they need to be replaced, you know what I'm saying? Now, the bathroom itself comes with body wash and hand wash. In addition, it came with a hairdryer, which I used quite a fair amount, and loads of towels. Boy, don't get me started on all the towels. We rinsed those towels and we still had 2 left over. Don't ask why we go through so many towels. But they really stocked up their bathroom well. On top of that, we had no issues with any kind of dirt like mold or hair. The bathroom was clean. I heavily appreciate this when I come into a new place. A clean bathroom makes me feel so much more comfortable in the environment. Of course, when we first came in, there was a nice smell of incense. We quickly got rid of that, but still, you know, it was there. Now, in the video, you might see some wet patches. That's because Aris was washing his feet. So, you know, kind of made a little bit of a mess. Well, boys, what do you expect? But I promise you, when we first went into the bathroom, it was clean. No wet patches, no nothing. Oh, and something to mention, the water pressure was great in Slovenia. To be fair, throughout my whole trip in Eastern Europe, I noticed that water pressure was phenomenal. It's great. London, shape up. We need to fix this somehow. Like, you know, get some good water pressure in on here. Keep in mind that I prefer high levels of water pressure. I prefer a bit of a rough shower. If you don't, you can temper it a little bit, but my preference is personally a slightly harder shower. Pause. Now, my one pet peeves on this one, my one flaw with the bathroom, there's no booty cleaner. There's no shut off. There's no anus rinser. And because of that, I deduct the extra star. I'm not gonna lie, I would give you 6 out of 5 stars if you had this thing. I swear to God, like, well, provided you were a 5-star accommodation, you get 6. But this would have made you a whole star on your list. You know what I'm saying? For me personally, a booty cleaner. I want the booty washer. Like, put the booty washer in all accommodation. Make that worldwide standard, for God's sake. Like, what? Why people not want to wash their booty product? Like, every time I gotta take a I need to go into the shower. Nah, man. Like, put a booty washer in there. For me. Anyway, that would be the only place that the bathroom really failed on for myself. Everything else was pretty damn near perfect. Now, moving on to the next bit, we're going to talk about the kitchen and living room. Let's start with the kitchen. The kitchen consists of an induction stove with 2 hobs and an extractor hood up top, a kettle, a small dish rack next to the sink, a dishwasher, a mini fridge, a microwave, and in addition, it has all the utensils and plates and cups and mugs and all that you'd need. It's also got the separated bins for your general rubbish and recycling. They also had some pots and pans, and they even had a load of teas. You know how much I love my teas. Now, overall, everything was pretty cleanly. The mugs, the utensils, the plates, everything was pretty clean. Now, just a quick thing from me. No matter what accommodation I walk into, if it's a new accommodation, I always wash the mugs, plates, utensils, whatever it is I'm using before I use it. It's a standard for me. I don't care how clean it looks. However, I really appreciate it when these things actually seem clean. Because even if I'm gonna wash it, it doesn't give me that weird ick feeling that I get when I have to clean dirty shit. You know what I'm saying? Overall, this whole accommodation was really good with its standard of cleanliness. Now, they will have all the little additional things that you need, like bin bags and dishwasher tablets, so we didn't have to go out and buy those. And while we did have everything we needed to cook, I was really unhappy with how confined the cooking space was. The dining table encroaches too much into the space of the kitchen, making it difficult to open certain drawers and also uncomfortable to move about around the hob. This area was just a little bit too cramped for me, and on top of that, I'll be honest, induction stove is not really my favorite type of stove. I don't really like induction stoves. Now, let's slide on into the dining room, which is technically part of the kitchen, but yeah, whatever. In the living room, we got 1 dining table with 3 seats. The 4th seat is in the bedroom, a sofa bed, a shoe rack and coat hangers by the entrance, a table with flyers and travel guides of things to do in Lasko. We've also got the Google Reviews scanny thing that you can scan to leave a Google review on. They'll be getting my Google review anyway. There's also this full body mirror with a sexy man in it. There's a TV which can be adjusted to face the couch. And there's a window up here for natural light. However, you're not going to get any views out of this window. Now let's look at the amenities of the living room in a bit more detail. The dining table, it's too big. I feel like the dining table itself takes up too much of the living room space as well as the kitchen space itself. It doesn't really belong there. And here we have the TV. Now the TV is easily adjustable. It's not very difficult to get it to face the couch. And on top of that, you actually get a nice view from the sofa. The TV itself comes with Netflix already pre-downloaded. And on top of that, it comes with an account. So if you're curious about Slovenian Netflix, then you can check it out here. And finally, the sofa bed. The sofa bed was clean. And after my most recent experience at a different accommodation, I'm very happy with that. The bed itself, once laid out as a sofa bed, is very spacious too. It could definitely fit another pair or couple on there if need be. Now the sofa bed itself was quite easy to assemble, and on top of that, all the bedding was right underneath the base of the sofa pillows. So they were easy to access and easy to put away the next morning if need be. So now that we've seen the entirety of the inside of the house, let's look beyond the house. What does the all-season apartment offer outside of the accommodation? Now earlier in the video I mentioned the free parking, so you do have this free parking space. On top of that, within the actual facility itself, you have this activity hub. In this activity hub, you have board games and flyers, and you even have a telescope. We never used this, but I do wish we used the telescope. I would go back just to use the telescope. On top of that, for some reason, we have a chair sitting here. Now, I don't know why anyone would want to sit in this chair and read flyers all day, but you know, I guess the chair is there if need be. I don't really understand why the flyers are there, because I assume all the flyers are in every other apartment in the All Seasons facility. So I didn't really get the point of that. That being said, it was really nice to have all the board games there. Now, naturally, you couldn't really play the board games out there in the activity hub because there's only one chair and no table. But they have no problem with you taking these board games back to your apartment and using them there. On top of that, included within your stay, you have access to these umbrellas. That's right. If you're going out and it's raining, you can take any one of these umbrellas for no additional fee. I love that. Now, there was this trampoline outside. That being said, I don't know if we were actually allowed to use it. It was just there. And that's literally all you get as part of the apartment facilities. There's no gym and no pool. No sauna, no spa, no nothing. Now, keeping in mind, this is a B&B and it's normal for a B&B to be like this. That being said, nearby there is another hotel. Now, I can't pronounce the name of this hotel, so I've put it up on screen for you guys to see. And they give you access to a pool, which is only about a 5-minute walk away. It's not free if you're a guest at the All Season apartment, but it is accessible if you pay for it. That being said, you cannot access the gym. And as an athlete, I really do appreciate gym access. And the final thing around the area would be the hiking routes. Now, there is an abundance of hiking routes around the area. On top of that, there are also cycling routes from town to town that you could take, and just some casual walks that you can have. If you're interested in seeing what one of these hikes look like, subscribe to the channel, leave a like on the video and comment down below, because I will be posting a little video of me and Aris going on one of these hikes. And it didn't go as smoothly as we would have liked, let's just say that, but keep tuned for that video. And that's pretty much it. That's everything the All Seasons apartment has to offer in Lasko, Slovenia. Oh, I do need to mention that the accommodation itself does provide safety protocol in the event of a fire. You know, you get the fire extinguishers and what to do in the event of a fire or an emergency or anything like that, just outside your apartments. So now, how much does it cost to stay at the All Seasons apartment in Lasko, Slovenia? To stay at this apartment for 3 nights, it cost us 297 euros. Or £257 for 3 nights. Keeping in mind that I do get a slight discount when booking this accommodation because I get a slight discount on booking.com. So this works out to be about 100 euros per night for the 3 nights, which is a little bit pricey. However, this was for 2 people and this ends up tallying up to 50 euros per person per night, which works out to be on the very cheap side. Now, just a note that the price does fluctuate throughout the year and it does seem to get slightly more expensive towards the summer periods. I assume that's because people like to go hiking, but it is definitely much cheaper than nearby hotels. Now, there isn't that much competition in the area, and the only other hotel that we actually looked at was the official tournament hotel, which was this place right here. And that place was way more expensive. So we weren't going to be doing that anytime soon. We're badminton players. We are not built like that. So I would definitely say that this accommodation is great value for money. And would I go again? Yeah, I would go again. If I were to go this time, I'd probably go with my girlfriend on a little getaway vacation. So now let's get into the rating. In terms of location, I'm going to give it a 3.5 stars out of 5. In fact, as an athlete, I'm probably going to give it 4 because it was literally a 5-minute walk away from the venue that we had our tournament at. I think it definitely deserves this score because the town itself is relatively safe, and the location itself is right next to a few hiking spots as well as a hotel with a water retreat. On top of that, I forgot to mention this earlier, but you can access spa services at the hotel just across the road. It's also positioned right next to the main road that leads into town, so it's really easy to get to if you drive, and on top of that, you got free parking, so there is incentive to do that. It didn't apply to us because we don't drive, but still, I think it's a pretty good perk. The town itself is really peaceful and quiet, so you won't get too many noise disruptions. However, my biggest issue that stops it from getting the full 5 stars is that it is so far away from any international airport. Keeping in mind that I came in from Croatia, however, coming in from Slovenia himself, it still took Aris 2 hours to get to the town itself. So for that reason, it only gets a 4 out of 5 stars. Cleanliness, straight 5 stars. No dust, no hair, no mold. Kitchen appliances were clean, nothing broken. In terms of cleanliness, this accommodation stands above the rest, 5 stars. Even when we messed it up, it was still clean. That's how clean it was. You might be wondering why I'm setting up at this point. It's because my microphone didn't record, so now I gotta record this bit again. I was so excited to edit it as well. Comfort and amenities. So now for this section, the All Seasons apartment only gets 3 stars. Now you might be asking yourself, Eid, why only 3 stars? While it did everything quite well, everything it did was pretty much to standard. Aside from the umbrellas at the entryway, I thought that everything it did was pretty much to standard. The bed was comfy, the kitchen was well equipped, the cleanliness was out of this world. The Wi-Fi speed was consistent, the toiletries were well stocked, and I did enjoy the additions of the board games and the telescope, even though we never used them. But one thing I didn't really mention in the video is the fact that they lacked the washing machine. As an athlete, I personally would take a washing machine over a dishwasher any day of the week. Especially because our clothes get so sweaty and dirty, and it was really inconvenient to have to take our clothes to the laundromat, which was more than a 15-minute walk away. So that was a little bit inconvenient. On top of which, the pillows were a bit too uncomfy, they were a bit too old, a bit lumpy. I really didn't enjoy the sensation on my neck. It was a bit strenuous. And on top of that, there were just certain amenities in the apartment that I just thought they had for the sake of having them, not because it actually gave something to the apartment, you know what I mean? It didn't give something to the experience. An example being, we don't have a washing machine, so why do we have 2 clothes hangers? Even if it rains outside, we're gonna wanna wash our clothes, so I don't see the point in having the clothes hangers. The wardrobe, what's the point of the wardrobe? Obviously the house was designed for a short stay, so why do we need a wardrobe? Most people are just gonna live out of their suitcase when they stay there. What is the point of this chair in the activities hub? Like, what is the actual reason for this? People aren't going to sit there and read the flyers, especially when the flyers are located in your apartment. On top of which, why do we have the flyers out there? If each apartment has their own set of flyers, why put more outside? Or if you're going to leave them outside, why put them in the apartment? One or the other. I just felt like it's having stuff for the sake of having stuff. Yes, baby. My cat's getting a little bit frisky. So yeah, it was for those reasons that I only gave this part of the review 3 stars. Next up, accuracy and communication, 5 stars. Everything mentioned in the listing was present, except for maybe the tennis courts. We never saw tennis courts, but we're badminton players, so we don't care. But everything else in the listing was definitely present. The host even told us about the spa and pool at the other hotel that we could access. Now the check-in was really smooth, even though we messaged her last minute, and on top of that, the host was very responsive. Anytime we sent her a text message, she didn't take long to reply, and on top of that, she was very helpful with her reply as well. She wasn't such an extra host either, and let me explain what I mean by that. Sometimes I go to these B&Bs or hotels, and at the location, the host is very in your face, constantly asking you how you're doing, checking if you need anything, messaging you regularly, and I don't appreciate that. I understand the work that goes into it. However, really and truly, I'm a bit of an introvert. I don't really want to deal with too much talking, especially when I don't know you. I like to have the experience of not knowing the host is around, but there if I need them. And in my opinion, she did really well at that. She gave us our personal space as well as helped us whenever we needed it. She even let us check out 1 hour later than we were supposed to. And for all that was mentioned, 5 stars. Now, value for money, 5 stars. That place was cheap. For 2 people especially, the accommodation was relatively cheap. 50 euros a night for what we got was great. And in relation to the price at a hotel, I think it was well worth it. And now, the bonus star. The booty washer. Didn't have one. 0 stars. You could have got that nice extra star if only you had a booty washer. I don't know what it is with European accommodations or anything in London, but y'all just don't put booty washers in your accommodations. Like, what's wrong? I want to walk out there with clean booty every single time. I don't want to have to take a shower every time I take Next. So we're moving on to the final verdict. And what would I give this accommodation on its final review? Despite the lack of a booty cleaner, this accommodation gets 4 out of 5 stars for me. For the record, yeah, if anyone's watching this video, a booty cleaner gets you a whole star straight away. That's it. Straight up star. You would have had 5 if you had a booty cleaner. But on a serious note, I would definitely give them a 4 out of 5 stars. For the price we paid, all the amenities we got, and the level of service, plus the cleanliness of the accommodation and all the utilities involved, I was very happy with what we paid for. And I wish more accommodations would hold themselves to this standard in future. And there you have it. That's the All Seasons Apartments in Lasko, Slovenia. Oh, yo, my kitty cat wants to come and say hi. I highly recommend this accommodation for pairs or couples that either need to be or want to be in Lasko. And personally, I wouldn't really recommend Lasko for the average tourist unless you really wanted some quiet and peaceful getaway time. But who am I to decide? If you'd stay here, let me know in the comments down below. And I'll also leave a link to the All Seasons Apartments down below in the description. If you'd like to see more reviews from me as I travel around the world, or you'd like to see more travel vlogs, like in this video here where I do a hike with Aris in Lasko, then sub to the channel, leave a like on the video, and comment down below what you want to see in future. Anyway, that's the end of the video. Sub to the channel, stay tuned for more, and I'm hoping to see you guys in the next one. Peace!